Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan Cramer and I'm the Clean Comfort Product Manager. And I'm going to talk to you today about our Clean Comfort offering. One thing that I want to just kind of address real quick is some of you may have, we kind of talked about Clean Comfort at the very beginning, but Clean Comfort is Goodman and Amana's IAQ solution. We like to call it your indoor air essentials, that these are essential to your system, your home, the air you breathe. And one of the things that we like to say is the name Clean Comfort really kind of came from, we had a Goodman and Amana IAQ solutions at one point, and we were getting stuff with the Goodman color being the Amana being the Goodman color. So what we did was we just decided that we were going to name it Clean Comfort so it could work for all of our platforms. So that's the name and where it really came about. Inside of Clean Comfort, we have 6 families. We call them food groups, and you'll see them on the left-hand side. We have icons for them, but today we're going to step through very high levels because we figured out how we can analyze the issues in the home, talk about what that data means, and now what we're going to show is just the products that we offer and solutions for that. So we have filtration, humidification, dehumidification, purification, ventilation, and zoning, and this will be a real high level, but I hope that this kind of teases you to look into this more, and we have a website, www.cleancomfort.com, which will give more in depth if you want to look into that. So one of the industries right now, or families that are really blowing up is our filtration group. So with filtration, we have one of our media air cleaners that we offer up is the Clean Fit version. So there are 7 cabinet sizes. They're all common filters. And one thing that's really cool about these is that blue sticker that you see on all of them that say Clean Comfort, they actually get mailed in a Ziploc bag with the installation manual. So that being said, you can put the Clean Comfort logo on there if you wish when you install it, but we also encourage dealers or contractors to really think about putting their own brand on there. So it could be Jonathan Cramer's HVAC controls, and that way when the homeowner walks up to the attic and sees that it needs a replacement filter, they look and they see that with my number, they call me instead of calling Clean Comfort because we don't sell directly online. Again, in our filtration series, we have the Clean Fit, which is like our premium, all painted code. But we also have a builder's model. The builder's model has a front that looks really nice. But it's not fully painted on the side, so it's a little bit of a economy version of it, but it's the same filtration. It's just the design of the actual container. We also have right angle and perfect platform options as well. We have 2 sizes for the right angle. We have a 2025 and a 1625 coming out this year. And then our perfect platforms have been out for a while, but these are really nice on certain installs where you're limited to the capabilities of the attic or basement or closet that you're in. We also are offering up something that we can, differentiate ourselves between Amazon, Honeywell, and all of them that are really kind of going for sales for a homeowner could just go out and buy it without going through the contractor directly. And one of the ways we thought we could do that best is adding a MER13 Charcoal. So what this does is it's a direct replacement for everything you just saw. So the ones that I just showed are all MER11 standard, but they can be easily upgraded to a MER13 Charcoal. So that same size is pulled out, and you can put this one in, and now you're getting the charcoal version of the AMP. We also offer up a furnace riser, which is pretty much standard and mandatory if you're using 4 to 5 ton units furnaces. The reason is your filter is only going to be as effective as the air is able to pull across that filter. So if the more airflow you're pulling across with the 4 or 5 tons, we need to have more access to that filter. So with our furnace risers, you can see there's a little opening on the bottom, but there's also the furnace opening. This allows the air to really drag across the filters, and these are painted the same color as our units, so it blends in perfectly and it looks really nice when it's paired up with the furnaces. We also have our HEPA units. We're seeing extreme growth, especially with what's going on right now. This is medical grade filtration that you can have access to at your home. We only offer up 2 right now. We have a 3-stage, which is the 300 GT, and we have a 250, which is actually a 5-stage, which has an added layer of purification element to the top. So the 3-stage, this is great. It can be mounted in the collar mounted, which is what you could see on the below it, but it can also be mounted on the ducts. Both of these can be mounted either way, and we're going to be offering up a 10-year parts warranty for both of them this year. So that's a big jump for us from the 5-year that we had last year. When it comes to purification, it's another group that's really getting big. So don't want to spend too much time on this diagram, but I think this diagram really kind of helps everyone really understand the differences between air and coil. So the air, what it does, it disinfects the air as it's coming from the system. So it's going to pass through the air purifier in the middle, and then it's going to go down. And one thing I want to notice, as you're following that down, you see that there's another box. That's a media air cleaner. And that's one thing to keep in mind when it comes to IQ, is that this is not an a la carte solution. You can't just pick and choose which ones you want. To have a full IAQ solution, you need to have all the food groups that really come together and work together as a team for your home. It's a complete solution. So again, you're going to see a media air cleaner here as well. Now, on the far right, you'll see a UV light that's shining directly down that evaporator coil. So that is continuous disinfection to the coil, which the air is going to pass through the system as well. So you are treating the air, you're mainly treating the evaporator coil. So when it comes to, well, you guys got a lot of UV lights. I'm getting a little bit confused on what to use with which. So I kind of break it down for air handlers and furnaces. For the air handlers, we actually have a cutout in our air handlers for Goodman and Amana that allow you to slide directly in the UV light. So it's already pre-cut. But we have two options. We have a premium option, which is the UC36. Actually comes with 2 bulbs. So that's how you're getting your added power of purification. Magnitude of UV, and also has a parabolic reflector that shines. So what this reflector does is, as the UV light comes up, it's now being directed directly down on that evaporator coil versus just being spread out and letting it just go all around in the cabinet. So there's nothing wrong with both of those options, obviously, because the 18S does not come with that. So it's a single bulb, and you just slide that in, and it comes with both a magnet base and non-magnet base to be mounted. Now let's look at the furnaces. So I see the picture, and I think a lot of people do the same thing I did when I first saw this, is like, oh, one has the LCD, one doesn't, one's better than the other. These are actually the same exact product. The main reason why we have 2 versions is because we have a high temp version and a low temp version. So people, where I'm from in Houston, we put everything in the attic. If we had a UC36, that LCD display would not last very long in the high temperatures of our attic. So we'd actually use the high temp version. If you have a basement installation, you can use the UC36 as well. And that comes with some really cool features with the USB plug-in. You can actually put your dealer name. So it could be John the Cramer's IOHV installs. And I can put my number. Now, when that bulb is counting down and it's time to be replaced, that screen will flash with my logo, John the Cramer, and my number. So the homeowner calls me instead of calling Clean Comfort, and I get that renew, and I can come in and check in on the system and check to see if the maintenance is of everything else since I'm already out. Now let's look at the air purifier. So we only have 2 versions. Again, let's get away from the one versus the other for the different benefits. Really what we want to talk about here is the 4,000 and 2,000. What the 2,000 means, it means it can purify systems for up to 2,000 square feet. 4,000 means 4,000 square feet. So think of it that way. The 4,000 does come with a little bit nicer features. Again, it's got that bulb. It's gonna count down on the LCD display or the OLED screen, so you get to see it there. And again, you can type in your number and stuff to have them call you again. But that's for a 4,000 square foot home. Now, if you have a 4,000 square foot home, but you have 2 systems, and both systems satisfy up to 2,000, then you could get away with just having 2 2,000s, not 2 4,000, if that makes sense. Ventilation, I feel like this is going to get a huge benefit after we start moving into the shoulder seasons coming up. It's getting a lot of hype. If you're joining us from the Canadian market, You guys have regulations that all new home installs have to have ventilation, HRV or ERVs. We're seeing the markets really kind of respond to these. One of the cool thing about these, if you can just think about it, is the R in both HRV and ERV. HRV stands for heat recovery ventilation, and the ERV stands for energy recovery ventilation. And not to nerd out too much, but if you look down at the bottom screen, you'll kind of see the center of that core. So fresh air comes from outside the home, it passes through that core, and then it goes inside the home. Bad air comes from the home, and then it's going to pass through and then go outside. What this is doing is it's allowing equal amount of outside air to come in and bad air to go outside air. So we can have ventilation naturally through cracks and windows of our house. We're building homes to be so tight. We're keeping our energy bills low with the heating and cooling, but we're trapping everything inside, which is great for energy, but it's not necessarily great if you're working out from home. Everyone's home right now. You have dogs, pets, allergies, candles, all this stuff that creates VOCs is now trapped inside the home, and we need a way to get it out because outside air dilutes the pollutants inside the home. And one way to really get an equal amount, the only way to do that is using a ventilator. Dehumidifiers, we only have 3. We try to keep it simple. We try to do the basic square footage of the homes, and also we try to keep our model numbers very basic. So DV70 is 70 pints per day. The DV98 is 98 pints, and 155 is 155 pints per day. The cool thing about this is if you are in the South, we need dehumidifiers like crazy. One thing is, if you have a portable, you can buy it at Walmart, Target. It's going to fill up, and once it fills up with water, it just shuts off unless you go and you empty it yourself, right? Well, a lot of times no one wants to do that. I personally had one for many years and I never emptied it either. But one thing about ours is it works with your HVAC system. So there's actually a drain. So as that dehumidifier is pulling air or moisture from the house, what it's going to do is it's going to dump it outside. And so those are the highlights of our dehumidification. So when it comes to humidification, you kind of have that same battle. We don't have enough, right? So people in the north, you guys have those winter nuisances of sore throats, maybe dry skin, nosebleeds, stuff like that can happen when you need moisture in the air. So with that being said, we have evaporative humidification, which basically is it brings water from a water line, heats up the inside of that pad so hot that it produces steam because water is dripping down that pad. So we have 2 versions. We have a 12, 17, and we have a fan power. The 12 and 17, 18 are gallons per day. So think of it that way, 12 gallons per day, 17 gallons per day, 18 gallons a day. Our premium steam is always going to be premium when it comes to humidification. It does really well. These are the top of the line units. Everything, all the logic is actually inside this cylinder that's replaceable. So if you look at this diagram, it is cash money. We have a water inlet and outlet. So this is getting pulled water automatically inwards and outwards. Well, why is it going to go out? Well, the reason is that strainer that you see right there, it's going to monitor the minerals and the thickness and things inside of that strainer. If it gets to a point where things are getting out of control with the water, the hardness, and what it will do is actually drain. So it can self-drain and self-fill. It'll do this for multiple times, but eventually you're going to have to replace the cylinder. And when you replace the cylinder, as you can see right above the strainer, I have 2 arrows that point to electrodes. Those electrodes are in the cylinder, and that's what actually heats up the water to produce a steam through the steam outlet. So when you get a new cylinder, you're getting new electrodes, which means you're basically getting a brand new unit, and these come with a 5-year parts warranty. We're very excited to announce that we're going to be launching our new zoning bypassless clean comfort and control kits this month. We're extremely excited. They're going to come with 2, 3, and 6 zone panels. All the logic and how it's bypassless is going to be in this static pressure sensor, which is on the top right, kind of looks like a bulb. What you do is you basically set that to the static pressure that you do not want anything to exceed inside the system. So it's going to come set at 0.3 waters per column, but if you need to move it up, you can just simply turn it, super easy. But what it does is when you get 3 zones calling, for example, and you get one call from a 3-zone system. Now, let's say that has a small zone room. So the static pressure inside that duct is now exceeding 0.5. What it's going to do is those other 2 non-calling zones, it's going to gradually open those 2 just to bleed out the excess static pressure. Now, it's going to monitor that to make sure it maintains a 0.3. So if it were to go below 0.2, it would actually close those other 2 non-calling zones. So this is all driven by the panel. It's all artificial intelligence on that, so it's actually pretty nice. These work great with our Comfort Bridge products. And how we're able to bleed out the different zones ever so slightly is because we actually have fully modulating dampers. They're going to be 3 wires, Belimo, and they're going to come in round and rectangular versions as well. We're going to offer up a 10-year warranty on the panel and a 5 years on the dampers. So that's my little pitch to you guys. I hope out our website, www.cleancomfort.com, and just a really quick high overview. We talked about filtration. We talked about the benefits of not shipping you guys a sticker. You can put your own sticker on there. We talked about the HEPAs, how it's medically grade filtration that you can put in the home. We talked about humidification, keeping the whole home, satisfied by using stuff that can go in conjunction with your HVAC equipment. Same goes for dehumidification. It's all going to work with it. And purification, which is getting a huge spotlight right now for what's going on across the world. We have different options. I hope we made it easier to understand the square footage versus even having ones that are air handler and furnace related. And then we talked about ventilation, which hopefully that's something that's new, or if not, it's exciting. We can talk about it more as the months go by, because we'll be picking up a lot of speed. And then we talked about how we're adding a zoning lineup to make us a complete family.